Howdy, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Follow the Leader. I'm your host, Lee Larson, and I am here with Amy Pearson. Welcome.
Thank you.
Amy Pearson is an author, a poet, a public lands advocate, and y'all, we're going to check out her beautiful work of poetry, 100 Days of Solitude, today on the episode. But before we can even get into this book, tell us, 100 days in, by the way, we'll talk about the forest, but have you always been into the outdoors? What is your upbringing?
Yeah, I would say I have always been into the outdoors, and I know that because my mom tells me that the first sentence that I uttered when I was a kid, like my first full sentence, was "me go outside."
That's perfect.
Yeah, I grew up on a farm, and even in that landscape, I would, as a kid, rather be outside than inside doing anything. That's always just kind of been part of my makeup, I would say.
Yeah. Did you do any fishing or hunting or anything, or what did outside look like here in Montana?
Well, I was on a farm in north central Montana, north of a small town called Conrad.
Mm.
Outside in that capacity in the summertime would mean swimming in the irrigation ditches that were nearby for the local farms and a lot of wandering through
Yeah.
fields and hanging out with my brothers. But then we also have a ranch west of Depuyer, which is closer to the Rocky Mountain front. And so I would spend time hiking outside when we got to go up there. And then in the mountains near Glacier National Park too, spent some time there.
Yeah. Well, and as your journey with the public lands and being outside, how did that unfold and influence sort of your education or
Hmm.
your career?
I think that maybe almost unconsciously, it has been a guiding factor in my life because I think that I've always sought out a place to be above anything else. And I think that that has a lot to do with my heritage too, as a fifth generation farm ranch kid in Montana. Being on the landscape has just been part of that, and so part of my mentality, like I mentioned, and so I've always been fascinated by landscapes. So where do I go next? Maybe not where the number 1 ranked college or university in the US is, but where would be an interesting place to explore
Yeah.
and check out the landscape.
Yeah.
So, for instance, after I finished graduate school in Missoula, I looked at my options, put applications out there, and I thought, Arizona would be different
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. Let's go check out the desert for a while.
Yeah.
And then similarly, I was intrigued with Japan for a lot of different reasons, but also why not go there next after the desert? Let's go to kind of a tropical landscape
Yeah.
and see what that's like. And
So,
yeah,
what were you doing there?
I went to Arizona to go to graduate school. I was working on my doctorate there
Yeah.
and did complete it, but that's what I was doing there.
Yeah.
What I was doing there is up for debate. But
Right. Right.
I was learning a lot about myself and
Yep.
a lot about organizational theory
Yep.
and a lot about people and place.
Yeah. And Arizona cannot be more different than Montana. Where in Arizona were you?
I lived in Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. Really different.
Yeah.
Like big city, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you got to explore though.
Yeah. And it was shocking when I arrived because I literally went from working on a trail crew in Glacier National Park
Mm.
the summer before to the concrete,
Mm.
endless concrete of
And
Phoenix. Every kind of business looks the same and sidewalk and sun and heat,
yeah.
and it was quite a shock when I
Whenever I fly into Vegas, Phoenix, any of those, and you just see a city in the middle of the desert and just the way humanity like elbowed our way into
Yeah,
that. We were like, "We're gonna live there," and
yeah,
it's just like it's, like, unsettling
yeah,
for me.
yeah. It felt wrong, like,
Right.
literally on my body, I
Yeah.
could feel that this is not where I should people should be,
Right,
but
like, it's like, "Does anyone see this?" And they're like,
yeah,
"Yeah."
yeah,
"Okay."
yeah.
But and then Japan, I mean, Arizona and Japan, I mean, I love this adventurous spirit that you had.
Mm, thank you.
How long were you in Japan?
I lived in Japan for 2 years.
Whoa.
I wish I had stayed longer. You could stay in Japan for
Really?
centuries,
Really?
as people do, but it it was an amazing experience.
What were you doing? Were you there for environmental or organizational theory things? Or
No, absolutely not. I went there because somewhat out of rebellion and resistance because honestly, my experience in a doctoral program was really disheartening to me in a lot of ways. I was very naive isn't quite the right word, but definitely true about the limits of education even. I thought this is all about ideas. This is all about where your mind can take you and improving humanity. And of course, even within education, politics are part of
yeah,
that process. And I felt a little disillusioned by that. And so when I finished graduate school, instead of going to an R1 research university to start participating in that world,
yeah.
I said, forget that. I'm done with this. I need a different scene. And I'm going to go teach kids in Japan. And so that's what I did.
I think you bring up a really good point. And I think a lot of folks who have gone to grad school feel that, like, you think you're going into this, like, lush garden of constant Socratic seminars
Yeah.
and so much books and speakers, and you're right, it still has its own sort of flow and ideology and
Hmm.
thing, and,
Hmm.
um
Right. Of course, I fervently believe in
Oh,
education.
yeah.
I'm an educator. I love it. I believe in the power of ideas and in democracy and how we learn that through our education. I'm a firm believer, but there are also some problems, and I really came face to face with those at such a large university.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be somewhere else, like, it makes sense to me why, born and raised in Montana, you know these lands by the back of your hands, but wanting something different, wanting to like you said, you went all the way to Arizona, the desert, and then to have your heart broken. Must have
Yeah.
been really, really and then
Yeah.
jaded. Like you said,
Yeah.
you went to Japan. This wasn't just it was America was kind of in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah.
seems like, and,
Yeah.
um, what about Japan really clicked with you?
Think the people First, the people were absolutely wonderful. Culturally, they're so attuned to politeness,
Mm,
which I appreciated. There was also, I would say, a depth to the individuals that I met in terms of their own personal dedication to growth that I have not experienced in the United States, for instance. I'm not dogging on the United States, but
mhm,
there I did feel like the people that I met and worked with, particularly the teachers and my friends, and a lot of them were teachers, teachers, they were so dedicated to what
yeah,
they do, singularly devoted to their work and their passion, and that was what they truly believed at
yeah,
heart, and that was very inspiring to me.
yeah, and I noticed this, college, you notice that, in Pakistan over the summer, or Pakistan for my pointers, but, this feeling I mean, even when they would talk about college, like, it wasn't partying, like, it
Mhm.
wasn't and I partied in college, and the
Mhm.
way that they talked about just school and education in this dedication, appreciation, where so many Americans,
Yeah.
go to college or just kind of assume that it'll work out for them
Yeah.
or whatever that entitlement is.
Yeah. Yeah. I When you were talking, I was just thinking about how it almost seemed like a sacred thing to my education. It was sacred. It was the most sacred. This is, and I think for me, just I'm putting this together while we're talking. Having that experience in graduate school and feeling a little disillusioned, it was completely healing to
Yeah.
go to a place where education was revered and known as being so important, and they have I was talking with a colleague about this recently. They have literally, I don't know the Japanese word, I can't remember it, but character development is part of their curriculum,
Whoa.
and I thought that was also really interesting and and important.
Yeah. What does that look like,
It
if you
looks
remember?
like, for instance, at the beginning of school every day, everybody who's part of the school, from the principal to the person that's hired to be the person cleaning, all clean the school together.
Whoa.
Everybody cleans together. Every single student, every single teacher, every person in the bureaucracy, and as the teacher there
Hmm.
too, the foreign teacher there, me too. So we all do that process together. So we're taking care of the building space together, for
That's
instance.
really cool.
Yeah.
And did you say the students?
Yeah, everybody.
That's such a sense of ownership.
Yeah, and that's character, right? Like,
Right.
we're all in this together, and there's an equity that's built
Mhm.
in, and that everybody does their best, even with something like that.
Right. Just, like, built into the culture. So the whole day that you're already and it's such an easy task because now you're all on the same team. Easy, like, from the get-go. That's
Mhm.
really, really you taught in Japan for 2 years. Where were you?
I lived in a city called Kumamoto, which is actually Montana's sister city, and a lot of people know about Kumamoto because of that arrangement.
Mhm.
I don't know a lot about that arrangement, but we have a relationship with that city.
Yeah.
And it's in Kyushu, which is the most southern island besides Okinawa
Mm.
in Japan.
Um, that also gives you, as it not being Tokyo, it gives you an opportunity to really get in with the locals. What was it like? How was your living situation?
My living situation was really nice. I lived in an apartment north of the main city by myself, a really nice apartment that the JET program, that's who I was working for, had set up and arranged. And there were other teachers from all over the world too. I was the oldest of them, just saying.
Yeah.
Most people do this kind of experience when they finish undergrad,
Yeah.
but, anyway. Uh, that was my living situation, and you had asked about
Well, just like just it not being Tokyo or some
not
major
being
city,
Tokyo.
it allows you to
Yeah,
different perspective of Japan.
definitely. It was beautiful. First of all, the country you got to see the countryside and volcanoes out of town and lots of just beautiful it was a beautiful
Mm.
place and not as many people. And I think I probably learned Japanese a lot better living there than I might have in Tokyo
Yeah.
because I encountered people who didn't and shouldn't speak English because we're in Japan,
Right.
and that forced me
Yeah.
to learn the language, which was a powerful experience too. Not fluently, of course, but by the time I left, I got pretty good, and I was very proud of that.
Yeah.
And I think the people there too probably have a slower pace than in Tokyo, even though it felt very like a quick pace to me
Yeah.
coming from
Yeah.
here. But
When, you're talking about Japan and working in this culture, you're also talking about respect and politeness. Do you see that politeness or that sense of community outside of the school? Like, could you see it kind of in the neighborhood or just the I don't know, it sounds
yeah,
like a vibe, to be honest. It sounds
yeah, that's a great question. I think I heard many of the other teachers that I worked with from other countries who were not Japanese discuss their they didn't like the politeness because their sense was it was not authentic,
oh,
and so it was we're putting on this polite face front,
Yeah.
and face is a word that gets used, but we're polite to everybody, and then kind of backdoor, like, "This is how I really feel." I don't know. I guess I felt like at least that kindness to the front towards other people, that's important too.
Yeah.
Even if it's not genuine, just being kind to other people, even if you don't feel like it,
Yeah.
I think that that's important.
Mhm.
I think that we could all learn a lot from
Yeah,
that. Let's just be
absolutely.
kind even if I don't really like this person or whatever, you
Mhm.
know?
Um, how was it to adjust, whether you're in Arizona or Japan, what was it like to adjust being somewhere so totally out of your element in those early weeks?
Either place
Yeah.
or in Japan, I floundered. It was it was very challenging.
Mhm.
I was by myself. In a completely new world. I did not know very much Japanese, and it was intimidating and scary.
Yeah.
And the rules, they're very structured,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know the rules, and I was making mistakes all the time. And they're very I grew to appreciate it, but they are very specific about how things should be.
Mm.
And if you don't know those things, you don't know what to do. So you have to kind of like I felt like I just fumbled my way in,
Yeah.
but I was willing to make mistakes, even though it was very embarrassing
Yeah.
for other people around me because they want it to look right. They
Yeah.
want it to be right. That's part
Yeah.
of their culture.
Heck. Yeah.
And I'm just this sloppy American. And I'm just like, oh, and from Montana, we were just like, whatever,
Yeah.
pretty laid back, but I learned structure, and that has helped me in other areas too
Mhm.
in life, I would say. But yeah, I had to kind of fumble into like and then start to care about getting it right too. That was a big piece of it.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so in all of this, were you in relationship with another person? Did you date in Japan or Arizona or either? What was kind of who supported you in all of these big steps? If there was one or a few people, and you don't have to name drop them unless you do want to get messy about your exes. We'll pivot all the way.
Oh, wow.
Just kidding.
I oh, I before I started graduate school in Arizona, I got divorced, like, right before I started my PhD. I was, like, 25, mid-20s, and we were just going different directions, and, I went to Arizona to start, my own adventure, and so I I never had a probably for, like, 10 years, I didn't have a significant other. I went on dates and had a lot of fun, but I was not in the right place to have a serious relationship, I would say. I thought that I was. I definitely was longing for that
Yeah.
throughout that time, but I there was a lot of healing that needed to happen before I would be ready for
So what did it look like coming back from Japan? What,
that. Was horrible. It was awful.
mhm,
It was back in Montana, which I love. I came here intentionally, but I was felt so isolated and lonely. I was used to having all these wonderful people around me supporting me, and suddenly I'm kind of by myself without a plan and not sure what was next. But I came back here because, well, I miss the mountains, which I've shared. I love our landscape, but I also really felt called, and this was part of Japan's influence on me. I felt that I needed to fulfill my purpose.
yeah.
I had a purpose, and I needed to fulfill that to the best of my ability. And that was my drive, is that I thought I could make more of an impact if I came back
Mhm.
and worked in English to further my career.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
Yeah. And Montana is kind of a world unlike anything else. I mean, it's so sparsely populated, and there's such a on the opposite, there's such a heavy emphasis on independence and, like,
Mhm.
self-sufficiency.
Mhm.
And I mean, yeah, I can
That
imagine coming back from Japan,
yeah,
it would feel very cold.
it was a shock. It was like the reverse shock, and people talk about that, right?
Mhm.
When you I'm sure you've experienced it, when you go to another country and then you come back, it's you change a little bit or a lot, and then you're back where you were, and things look similar, but you don't see them the same way.
Right. Right. No, they, "Oh, well, hi. Oh, yeah? Thank you. I knew this was going to happen. Pause. Here, no, come on, Bubba's. Come here. Come on." What time is it? Actually.
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. Um, Not right now. Come on. He wants dinner, but if he eats dinner, it's
Uh,
going to be very loud in the background. So I'm trying to figure out, like, "No, not right now. I'm sorry. Thank you. Come back."
I was like, "Gosh, Lee."
Um, he thought he had me too. He was like, "Just going for the door," and then I checked the time. Um, but
Cute.
you're coming back in. How did you get from here in Montana to the Forest Service?
I love this story.
Mm,
I gosh, I was struggling, like I mentioned, when I got back and trying to figure out where the heck I should be and what I should be doing, and I was spending a lot of time in the Flathead because I had before for fun, vacation, summer work for the Park Service, and I ran into a woman in Whitefish. I was hanging out in Whitefish a lot, and I was sitting outside, and this woman came up to me, and we just started talking, and she's like, "You know what? You should really work for my boyfriend who manages the Isaac Walton Inn." And I was like, "Oh, perfect. Yeah, let's do that. That
mhm,
sounds great." And so my first day of work there, which is in Essex, Montana, which is halfway between West and East Glacier,
mm,
so right along that section, I met a young man who worked for the Forest Service, and we struck up a conversation, and he said, "You know, you should really check out this lookout in the Bob Marshall Wilderness sometime." And I was like, "Gee, I've always wanted to do that."
mhm.
Absolutely. And he got me connected with the right people, and that's how that landed. Felt very serendipitous, a lot of this.
Yeah. And then it became the basis of 100 Days of Solitude, where y'all, like, as we have gone on this adventure with Amy so far, we have gone to Arizona, we have gone to Japan, we're back now in Montana, and we're going to spend 100 days of solitude in the woods. Beautiful book of poetry.
Oh,
Were you
that's sweet.
always, or was that something, is poetry how you have navigated life, or was this a new activity? What did this?
Yeah, poetry has been a part of my life since I was a kid. I have literary family, extended family, and poetry was always a activity we would do together. My uncle John would come home. He lived in the Seattle area and was an educator, and he got me really interested in poetry and would read me really very difficult poems, but I memorized
Yeah.
them, even when I was a kid.
Mhm.
I still don't know what they mean, but I started writing around then,
Yeah.
and I, have used poetry to process life and just express myself, I would
Mhm.
say. And so, naturally, when I'm in the lookout, if I'm experiencing something and I wanna express it, I'm gonna write it down, so that's what I did. And then when I got out of there, I some people encouraged me to look at what I had written down. That's what the book is.
It's beautiful. Can you tell us, what were you doing alone for 100 days in the forest? What was that?
I was working as a fire lookout for the Forest Service, and I was living in a tower, and I the premise is you're there to look for and spot fires and report them to dispatch, who then report them to a lot of people to handle and manage. And that's what I was doing. And then obviously you can't do that all the time. I was also doing yoga and reading a ton. I
Mhm.
was reading lots of Gary Snyder essays. He's one of my heroes. And I was writing things down and I was listening to the radio and hiking in the backcountry when I had days off, exploring the Bob. It was really powerful experience.
It was, and, you've written about and I also now that we talked so much about Japan, I've noticed that you have a few haikus in here as well.
Yeah,
Did that
yeah,
inspire you?
definitely. Yeah. The their forms of writing are so beautiful.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things I've always loved about poetry is that you can say so much with just even one word sometimes, and it's more about the depth and the simplicity.
Mm,
I like that.
yeah. I have a few that I wanted to read to you today.
Oh,
We
cool.
have some from so you were there for, I mean, the whole summer pretty much, it looks like from July hold on. Uh, and, one of your bits from August, one is August 6th, it's titled "Wind." "As soon as you can't take it anymore, the wind changes." And I really appreciated that just as a fire lookout, but also where I was in, my life when I read this book
Mhm.
because that's exactly how it felt. Every day that I thought I was gonna just be taken to my knees, something small would change,
Mm-mm.
and it really resonated with
Mm.
me.
I'm
Um,
glad you like that. That's one of my favorite ones too.
that's the other one, Radio Check, August 20th. "I don't have to solve the mystery. I simply have to relay it." Oh,
Mm.
just like
I
it's
like that
so
one.
simple and so beautiful. I know I have a lot more. There's "This is not the beginning or the end, and yet somehow it is." I feel like I shouldn't be reading
Mm.
these, that you should be.
I hearing them from somebody else for a change. That's
'Cause I
really
feel
nice.
'cause I feel like I'm like, "Wait, I don't actually know if this is how she said it." Um,
No, this is way better for me.
okay. But what, and I will post, photos, in the video, but even, like, your use of space, like,
Mm.
you're a creative person, um, you don't use a lot of words, and you don't have to.
Yeah.
Um, I like that you create a lot of visuals while also tying all those visuals back to emotions. I mean, because
Mm.
100 days in the Montana wilderness, I really wanna, like, make sure you're getting this 100 days, um, of just being by yourself, looking
Mm.
for smoke on the horizon
Mhm.
after everything you just went through, and I would imagine there would be times of immense boredom,
Yeah.
right? But then also that silence, it feels like either things could come up, like new
Mm.
perspectives, or even just feeling like, I don't know why I was so fussed about that. I just
Mhm.
feel like there's a
Yeah.
lot of time spent alone.
Yeah.
Um, and you talk about the rain, you talked about the heat, but did you ever feel like have emotion, like, grief, anger, sadness that came up for you while you were there and that you
Uh-huh.
processed?
Yeah. I think it was almost like those feelings it's not that, of course, I shouldn't feel those feelings, but it was almost like the other feelings became so much more pressing that those ones didn't matter anymore, if that makes sense. Because it was almost like at some point, you recognize that your feelings don't really matter that much. That's
Yeah.
not the right that sounds weird, but I guess it didn't matter ultimately when I was there by myself on the top of a mountain looking for fires. It didn't matter if I was angry or sad or bored or any of the things because it just was.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it was just I mean, who cares if no one else is around to
Right,
like,
to
there's not really a
respond.
purpose. Yeah,
Right,
right.
right, there's
It's
no
like
response.
yeah, it's just I would say it was I mean, boredom definitely, I remember feeling very bored. Loneliness became an overriding
Yeah,
feeling for sure, like an ache almost,
yeah,
just to connect with somebody else.
yeah.
I'm not an expert on how all the emotions fit together. I know that there are theories about that, but and so maybe those are kind of intertwined somehow, but I remember boredom and I remember loneliness. Those were the
Mhm.
2 main.
And that'll change you too. What was it like?
Ah.
I mean, I keep asking you, what was it like? Because you keep going in these like quote extra reality type environments. So, but I mean, you leave the Forest Service and you eventually write this book. What impact did that time have on you? How did it affect you a year later?
Yeah, I I think even as little as a few years ago, when I would think about that experience in the Lookout, which was in 2015, so over 10 years ago now, I would become extremely emotional now
Mm,
about it, right? The feelings are coming up about just spending that time with yourself is so rare and in such a place, the wilderness, where everything it's just starkly what it is, and you're allowed to just be, and you're just part of that, and it's I can't really describe it,
yeah.
but it was the most life-changing experience I've ever had,
Mhm.
and we all have them. This was mine to this point, and I think I'm still talking about it,
Yeah.
and that's, I think, demonstrative of the impact. I still talk about it, I still want to talk about it, and not just because other people find it interesting, but because it was powerful.
Absolutely. I know that you have a focus on education, and we don't have to talk about your employer or anything, but how is education and being in the community? What does that look like for you now?
I still feel like I mean, all of these themes thank you for giving me this opportunity to reflect on my life.
Yeah.
This is great. This is like therapy.
Fun.
All of these themes are present when I'm thinking about our conversation today and my life, education, writing, poetry, place. They're all part of it, and Japan and really valuing finding your purpose and going for it. And I still think and I believe that's why I'm here. I believe that I'm here for that reason. I'm still working on my purpose, but education is
Mhm.
there. I'm in that world now. Writing and poetry are also still part of my life, not as centrally as I would like them to be, but I'm planning to work on that this year. But I'm still like honing in on my purpose and focusing on it to see where it takes me, and not that it has to take me to Asia again or Africa, but to create an impact that's meaningful.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like, right? We
Mhm.
all have that and just I'm like I still feel so I still feel so much yearning to complete that thing,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That resolve, that passion, and then just like you said, purpose,
Yeah.
purpose. And I respect how much grace, room. I don't know what the word is, but you know the ballpark, but you're not married to any specific sport. Like you're like, I'm
Mm,
in this realm. I know what works, and
Mhm,
because of
mhm.
that, you are free.
Mm,
Like, there is this sort of,
mm,
like, I can unfold to whatever it's gonna be because I'm not narrowing down any one way, I'm just kinda
yeah.
rolling with it.
Yeah, yeah. That's a that's an astute observation.
Oh, well, that's just you're just, like, creating this whole really beautiful life, and you're like, "Yeah, it's
Oh,
like" um,
thank you.
that you're here now. You're in Great Falls. I know I've seen you're doing quite a bit of, hiking and being outdoors. Um, what are some of things that you're looking forward to in the next year, and what are some things that have you concerned?
Mm, we all need things to look forward to right now.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward
That was the
to
response, by the way. She's gonna
I'm looking forward to next weekend. My husband and our dogs are going to a special place in the woods where there's usually a lot of snow. Maybe there will be this year. Just getting away and refreshing and refueling. For me, that is central to my sanity and my mental health. And I really want to make those kinds of things happen this year. And I mean, forever, that will be part of my life. But especially right now, because of the nature of our country, that is very important. And then the challenges are our country
Yeah.
and
You
and
yeah.
the fear that am feeling and trying to avoid allowing to take over my life as an individual. But I mean,
Yeah. It's a lot. No, yeah. It is, right? Because we already have our lives with whatever's gonna happen with that. I mean, we
yeah,
lose jobs, we get sick, we, bury loved ones. Like, life continues, and then on top of it, there's still this massive federal,
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
fear,
yeah,
and,
right, right,
um it's exhausting, so
yeah,
making time for your mental health, going out next week, hopefully you and I can get a hike in the summer.
yeah, that'd be
It
great.
you really have to carve it out, and I
Mhm,
heard a great quote this morning that was like, "If you don't pick your rest days, your body will pick them for you."
mhm.
And it's so true, particularly for someone like you who's a leader and is, like,
Aw,
organizing people and keeping people, like, going in education, and
mm.
you're looking in the mirror going like, "Oh my am I okay?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks, Lee.
Mm,
I also heard an interesting proverb this morning at the gym. A friend of mine in my spin class said she'd heard a Chinese proverb recently. I haven't done the research to verify this, but it was something like, "May you have may you live in interesting times." Like a good life is
mm,
that you've lived in interesting times. And I thought that's the most hopeful thing
right.
that I have heard in the last how long has it been?
Yeah,
2 years?
2 years, but but yeah, you said that you got back from Japan or you went to um in the wilderness in, 2015, and I was like, "Oh, you should've just stayed." He was elected the next year. Stay in Japan
I've
or at the lookout.
I've thought about that on a few occasions.
But, I am so thankful that you gave me some time today. I know you're very busy. Uh,
Hmm.
this is Amy Rae Pearson's book, 100 Days of Solitude. Are there other books, or can you point, the listeners to where they can buy this book?
Yeah. There is one other poetry book. It's called Poems for Certain Women. And then there's this book, 100 Days of Solitude. This book is available ar- in bookstores around Montana, mostly independent bookstores. In Great Falls, you can buy it at Bighorn Outdoor Specialists. And then you can buy Poems for Certain Women at Cassiopeia
Mhm.
in Great Falls and other places, but I'm not keeping up very well.
Well, I mean, it's, 100 Days of Solitude. Again, Amy Rae Pearson for your Googling, references. Amy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Aw,
That was
thanks
awesome.
so much for talking with me, Lee.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
Thank you. It's funny, all I did was ask some questions, and you're like, "I feel something." So that's another week of Follow the Leader. I'm so thankful that you were here, that you joined me, that you got to meet Amy. We got to dive a little bit deeper into her book. And let me know in the comments, what did you think about this? Like, follow, subscribe. You guys know the drill. And I'll see you next time. See ya. Bye.
Hey.